And, don't be afraid to send me press releases, articles, or anything else you've got coming up that you want to put out there. I'm always looking for new material for Got Mead. You know that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll make sure.
Yeah, especially samples.
Yeah, samples are always good. Yeah, I will never turn away samples. But but seriously, I mean, if you've got an article coming out, or you just want to put something out there, or you've got a new write up, or if you guys even want to do like an ongoing build on the on the new location, you're more than welcome.
Oh yeah, like the updates and everything. That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, it's always fun. People love that stuff, and and it's just fun to be able to take part in what's going on inside the world. So, by all means, you know how to get a hold of me. So, but in the meantime, though, we'll let you guys get back to your regular lives. And David, I want to see more pictures of the tiny house because they didn't show near enough of them on the show.
Yeah.
I mean, they cut out all the really good bits, to my way of thinking. But
Yeah, you should. We do have a Instagram where we got a ton of pictures on there.
Oh.
If you're interested, it's MI Tiny House Journey. Like MI as in Michigan, Tiny House Journey.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah, tons of pictures, and we continually post on that, and it's kind of like Mead. The tiny house movement is kind of like the Mead movement. It's this like whole subculture, and people just get drawn right into it, and it's a lot of fun.
Okay, cool. I will definitely check that out.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, guys, thanks so much for coming on the show. It's been just a hoot having you here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, let us know what's got coming out. I'm always interested to hear.
Will do.
All right.
Do. You guys enjoy the rest of your night.
We will. Take care, guys, and thanks so much. We'll probably be dragging you back in here at some point in the future,
All right. Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
So shall we get Hamish to read your commercial, Vicky?
Ooh, yeah, I got my commercial in an Aussie accent. I love it. Got the page open, Hamish?
Indeed.
Awesome.
All right.
Did you know that in addition to running Got Mead, Vicky is actually a marketing specialist? With her company, Craft Beverage Marketing, she specializes in working with craft beverage companies making mead, cider, beer, wine, and spirits to find the best and most profitable ways to reach your customers and turn them into raving fans who will buy your products just as fast as you can make them. And she'll work with you to craft a plan to make it happen. Check it out. Go to craftbevmarketing.com and grab a complimentary session with her to get some great ideas on marketing for your craft business.
Thank you, Hamish.
I'm sorry, I made Vicky laugh again.
You always do that, AJ.
Well, she does this. She types shit, when I'm trying to be like serious and stuff, and it's just not working.
I can't say it because this is why I call myself a bad example.
Yeah, you really are a bad example.
Yes,
I totally am.
and my third computer keeps blipping with Skype messages all through that ad. So well done. I'll just silence that third computer.
We're doing our best to distract you.
Yeah.
Trying to...
Yeah, you guys do it really well too. I mean, they had me cracking up in the last show. It was hilarious.
That's funny.
So that's fine. We'll just wait till AJ's doing her thing and then do the same thing.
So Vicky, was it everything you thought it was going to be?
Oh yeah, I was totally squeeing over here. Totally, it was like yeah.
It was great.
It was.
It was fantastic.
I could see him doing like movie things,
Right.
those ones like when they're the adventure movies, when a man has been put out and nothing else will do.
Or the whole in a world.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that guy. That's the guy. So I do it the Oz version.
We could do something like that.
We could totally.
In a world where you find it hard to start up your own business specializing in beer, wine, cider, or spirits, there's only one person you can talk to. It's Vicky Rowe of craftbevmarketing.com.
It hurts to snort mead through your nose. That was good mead, too. Oh, God. Fogging up my glasses here, man.
Okay, now that we've all got the giggles, how about we start talking about when mead misbehaves?
Aw, man, do we have to?
Somebody has to be the good example. Wait a minute, what am I doing?
When your mead goes sideways, what do? You call Bond, James Bond.
The first thing you do is you work out what might be wrong with it. And the first thing to do that is to work out what you think is sideways about it. Is it smell, sight, taste, sensation? What is it? So, AJ, why don't you lead us in this?
Sure. I tend to find things happen at 3 different stages, and that's why I've divided it up the way I have. There are a lot of things that happen during fermentation, and it's kind of a crapshoot on whether or not it is something that you need to worry about. Because I've had stuff that's, during fermentation, I've had things that have grown fuzzy bits, I've had it taste prickly, I've had it taste tongue-numbing, it smelled like rhino farts, I had one that smelled and tasted like vomit for a little while. Yeah, I actually have had that happen a couple of times, and it turns out that it's a particular yeast that doesn't like being underfed.
Jeez, goodness.
Yeah. What yeast is that? So we know to make sure to feed it.
Oh God, yeah, it's RC212.
Oh gosh, it's so funny. That's the one
It's
that I've
a
got
real
for one of my batches that I'm starting tomorrow.
It's a great yeast. I love what it does, but it's really, really needy. It's a high needs yeast, and you just have to know that going in, and don't underfeed it, and make sure you oxygenate it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you get weird things.
I've got 3 weeks before I go on vacation. That ought to be plenty of time to get through the primary and into just the tail ends before I take off for a week. So.
Yeah, it should be fine then.
Yeah.
So it's in order to catch something that's going wrong before it's too late to do something about it, you do sort of have to be attentive. So, you got to keep your I like to say I keep my nose on things because that's what tells me things more often than what it looks like. I don't keep my eye on it, I keep my nose on it. And if your sense of taste is more developed than your sense of smell, then taste it often. But the caveat is that during fermentation, there are some things that are just going to taste awful, and don't make a final judgment until, after fermentation's done and it's no longer carbonated and all of that. But there's a couple of things that are important to take care of. If you've got anything that's growing moldy, then yes, pluck that out, and you might want to sanitize anything that's come in contact with it if you can, if it's not in the middle of like a full fermentation. Because I've had like folds in my fruit bag start growing black fuzz, but while I was waiting for the pectinase to start doing its thing. So I just sort of scraped it off, scarred it off, and used my spray bottle of sanitizer solution on that one little area. And that batch turned out okay. The vomit batches, that sort of comes and goes, and I'm not absolutely positive if that's something that has to do with just the way that batch went, or whether it was something that I wasn't doing at the right time. Anything that smells like sulfur, that is stressed yeast. It's making sulfuric things, and if you don't either fix it so that it stops doing that, or treat it so that you get the smell out, it can be gotten rid of, but if you leave it for too long, it can turn into something worse that's hard to get rid of. It can turn your sulfur compounds can start turning into mercaptans, which is the really stinky compounds. Yeah.
Well, and when that happens, it's looking for nitrogen-based nutrients.
Yeah, typically.
Sometimes. Yeah, you also, and like you said, check for infection, and then also excessive sulfates can do that. So
That's true. The nice thing
depending
with
on when it
excessive
happens.
sulfites can often be like sulfites will
not
evaporate.
Sulfites.
Okay, sulfites.
Yeah.
Sulfates.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you've got excessive sulfur, sometimes you have to treat it with copper.
Yeah.
A pre-1982, I believe, penny, because that's when they still contained actual copper, or a probably safer is some people will stick one of those copper kitchen scrubbies. They'll just fit.
Yeah.
They'll just fit a copper scrubby over the end of the racking cane.
Yeah, that's a distiller's trick too.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, if you go to your local brew shop, I know that distilling is illegal in both Australia and in America, but
not in Canada.
you'll find that they often sell a lot of a lot of gear that could also be used for distilling,
Right.
water purification.
Yeah.
And they'll have a fine copper mesh. It's like a copper mesh pipe kind of thing. And you can use that for doing that very thing. It's great for getting rid of the rhino farts. It won't get rid of the cabbage mercaptans or anything like that, because once you're there, you're pretty much screwed.
All right,
Yeah,
for
once
those
you're-
out there that are going, what the hell's a mercaptan? Why don't you guys explain that?
It's a half captain, half merman, right?
Nice.
The variety I've experienced with, I made a coffee mead that was severely lacking in nutrients, and interestingly, it came out really quite good, and I bottled it, and I took it to some friends to taste it, and then suddenly it tasted like raw cabbage, and there was absolutely nothing I could do to fix it. So that was the variety of mercaptan I've come across, and it was it just tasted like I was eating cabbage or sauerkraut.
Ugh.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
other mercaptans can be fishy smelling, fishy tasting as well, and that's really not a taste I think anybody wants in their mead.
No, I had that one once, and it was I don't know if there's anything to do once that happens. That fishy sort of.
Yeah, I think that is one of the things where if you're getting any kind of sulfurous compounds at all, then that is something that you need to address before you put it to rest. I actually have I have had a couple of them that have tasted sulfury, and so what I did was I either hung a penny in it, or another trick you go down to Home Depot and you get some copper pipe for like water piping, and you just tie a sanitized string around that and dangle it in the mead for a couple of hours and see if that helps, or rack through something copper just to get a little bit of exposure of the mead to the copper. But again, you don't want to put too much.
If you make the copper just long enough to reach the neck of your carboy or your corny keg, then you don't actually need a string around it, because it'll sit in the neck and it won't fall out, and you can fish it out with your finger later.
Fair enough.
That works, yeah.
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 With your sanitized finger, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
I've always tended to, whenever I get it during the ferment, it's happened a couple times, but I'll tell you what, ever since I started using Fermate O, I haven't had that sulfur issue during primary. But it could be also because I started using Fermate O after I got a little bit more advanced in the whole mead making thing. So it could be that I'm just paying more attention and aerating and doing everything as like I'm supposed to now. But I don't know. Fermate O seems to be something that keeps them very happy all the time.
Yeah. Often what I've found with sulfur is the first line of defense if something's going sulfurous is how far along are you in your fermentation. Because if you're only halfway through your fermentation, then you might want to add a little bit of Fermate K or DAP or yeast nutrient, yeast energizer, whatever it is that you're using. If you're more than about halfway through your fermentation, my suggestion is to get some plain old bread yeast and nuke the crap out of it. Add some water, nuke the crap out of it until it's like boiled and bubbling and starting to smell really, really bad, and then put that in. And that can help, because what you're doing there is giving your yeast a